Hi, and welcome to my program called In Your Kitchen. So the basic idea for this program was to give the user a modified recipe that they would need because they didn't have enough of one or more ingredients for that recipe. And I'm just going to walk you through what I wanted to complete with this program and how I completed it. So the very first thing that I wanted to complete with this program was to make it into a GUI. So what I did was I used this standard GUI format called Easy App, which I got from my computer science teacher, and I constructed a basic GUI for my program. So this is basically just the construction of the Choose Your Cookie, which is the initial program that you start up this is an object, but this is how you start up the program. And this method right here is basically just saying if the user clicks on the sugar cookie button, then it'll take him to this sugar cookie submenu, which you can see over here are the 5 submenus to the Choose Your Cookie menu. So I'm just going to quick show you how that looks in the GUI format. All right, here it is. So this is on a Mac computer, and it does look incomplete. You can't see the full title or the full title of any of the buttons, just because on a Mac, for some reason, it looks a little bit different than it does on a PC. But basically, I wanted to create this submenu or this menu called Choose Your Cookie, and it does what it's called. It's you just click on a button and it takes you to another menu. And just this says you chose sugar cookies, which obviously I just did. And then with these buttons, I wanted to be able to click on them, and then it would prompt the user for a certain quantity. So I'm just going to enter random quantities right here, just to show you how it works. Okay, so I'm going to go over the code in a little bit, but this is basically what the output is. So it is the recipe. So it gives you the yield, or the number of cookies the recipe will make, with the amount of ingredients that you have. And then this is the recipe right here. So that's all the ingredients that you need, and yeah. So I'm just going to exit out of these, and I'm going to show you the code portion of it. So this is the sugar cookie submenu. I have a class for each one of the recipes. And so basically, one of my requirements is that I needed a cookbook to start with. So this is my cookbook right here. It's a 2D array called cookbook, obviously. And it's a collection of the 5 different recipes that I have that are already stored into the program, so that you can see these are the 5 recipes. And then, the rest of this is just basic stuff. This is a construction of the GUI once again. And I have more double arrays. And then down here is basically just saying if the user selects the flour or clicks on the flour button, then it will take it to flour input. Each ingredient has a method that starts with the ingredient name and then input. And basically what this is doing is it's prompting the user for a quantity, and it's taking that quantity and putting it into an array, and then it finds the yield of that quantity. So the yield is the amount of cookies that quantity of the ingredient will make. And that was obviously required in my criteria for success, is that this all had to go smoothly, and it had to calculate the actual yield for that ingredient. And then I have it going for each of those ingredients. And then down here are the 2 very important complex methods that I used. The first one is smallest yield. So the smallest yield one it finds the smallest yield, so it's in the name basically, but it takes the array of yields that were inputted before in the ingredient input methods, and it finds the smallest one. Now the reason why it finds the smallest one is it needs to find the least amount of cookies that you can make, because you have a limiting ingredient, and so the whole recipe sort of conforms around that limiting ingredient, and finding the smallest yield will bring it to recipe manipulation, which takes the recipe for a single one of those cookies and multiplies it by the yield. So then you'll have your finalized modified recipe. I also have a little thing right here that basically just says if the smallest yield is the same as the standard yield for the recipe, then it's not necessary to provide a modified recipe, because you can just follow the recipe that you already had. Another thing that's super easy with this is that once you're done with a certain recipe, you can just go back and choose a different one if you would like. So like, say I inputted all this and now I'm done with it, and I can click on a different one and I can input the ingredients once again, because each cookie recipe has a different quantity of ingredients and different types of ingredients. So I can input my ingredients again and then make another recipe if I would like. So there are many ways that this program could have been expanded and improved on. For example, there could have been an option created to either add or delete a recipe from the original cookbook, but that would have required a lot more programming and a lot more sort of manipulation of the program. Another possibility for expansion could be saving the recipe to a file, so that the user could use it whenever they wanted. It would be saved in their computer, and they could use it for future events. And finally, the program could have been modified so that if the user had entered a character instead of a number when they were prompted, the program would tell them so, and they would have to re-enter the quantity. This, of course, would require a null pointer exception, or just an exception. And once again, I would have had to change the program quite a bit. But yeah, there's a lot of possibilities of further improving this program and adding on newer or more components to it. I hope you liked my video. I hope it was helpful in determining how successful my program was. And thank you.